Hey there, welcome back to Ask Amy. I have a question today from Lauren. Lauren says, I've been in the Three Principles conversation for about a year and a half, and I've had profound changes in how I view and experience life. My experience of anxiety and OCD have shifted tremendously. One thing that's hanging on is body-focused repetitive behaviors like nail biting and eyelash or eyebrow rubbing. And then she says, I don't pull like I did when I was a kid, but I'll rub my eyes or eyebrows until hair comes out. I've read your book, The Little Book of Big Change, twice in hopes of breaking these habits, but unfortunately my habits have stuck. The nail biting went away for a while, but it's times when it returns, and I haven't seemed to be able to stop rubbing my eyes. How can I stop? So I love this question because it's kind of counterintuitive, which is fun. It's the direction I want to point you in, Lauren, is kind of the opposite of what you're already doing, which makes sense, right? Because what you're already doing is not helping. And by what you're already doing, I mean doing a lot of stuff to try to make these things go away. So it's amazing that your OCD stuff, anxiety, looks really, really different to you. I mean, that's huge, and I'm sure you're really grateful for that, and maybe sometimes have an opportunity to kind of look back and be like, wow, I can't believe like that all feels so different. And I'm guessing you didn't go to work and do a bunch of stuff to try to make anxiety and OCD go away. Not that you didn't do things, but if you really kind of, and maybe it's too soon, maybe it's too close still, but if you kind of sit with that and just look, it's like stuff happened on some level that you have absolutely no knowledge of. You don't know exactly how that stuff changed or shifted. You have no idea. You just know that it did. Now, maybe you can come out the other side now and you have some new insights and you can say things like, oh, well, I see this differently and I see that differently. Great. But that doesn't mean you saw that differently and then your OCD tendencies went away. Like, that's how the mind wants to kind of do this. It wants a map, but it's not really mappable in that way. What we know is I don't know, you saw some stuff and those things shifted. And what we also know, based on what you just shared, is there are a few other repetitive behavior things, a few other kind of conditioned habits that haven't changed yet. And what I would kind of encourage you to do about those is not really care so much. Like, does it really matter if there's still some nail biting happening or still some eye rubbing happening? And when I ask that, now I'm not saying those are going to be the case forever. I'm not saying they're not going to change. I'm saying this because I know they are, but it's going to feel a lot harder and maybe take longer. I don't know. If you're checking on them and worrying about them and saying, well, this stuff went, so why won't that? And that's exactly how a mind wants to just slam on the gas and just get everything over with in one fell swoop. But then you know what the mind's going to do? It's just going to find new problems. So we don't need to feed into that. Who cares? Like, play with that. Like, what if these are just going to continue to kind of shift and fall away just like the other stuff did? And what if, in a sense, the less you're staring at them and working on them, the easier that's going to happen. I have a podcast episode, I don't know, maybe at least a year old, maybe 2 years old, called Change Happens by Neglect. And it's all about this. It's like, it's so counterintuitive. It looks like we do a bunch of stuff, have a bunch of insights, and then the change gets spit out the other end of that. And I don't think it's like that. In fact, I think that gets in the way. I think that gets in the way a lot, this looking at and working on. Now to have some attention on the fact that these patterns are still there, great. But just let that attention be there. Like, okay, some stuff has shifted, some other stuff hasn't. I'm just sort of aware of it. I see it. It plays out. I'm not doing it. I'm not making it happen. I obviously don't know how to make it stop happening. So I'm just kind of watching it. I'm saying this from your perspective, Lauren. Like, you're just kind of watching it with curiosity. It's not necessary. It's not solving anything, or, there's no purpose to it. Maybe it's just a remnant of something old. And maybe the more kind of held back you are, and you're just kind of watching it with curiosity, you might see some shift in that. But I think what's not going to happen, or what's less likely to happen, is you put a ton of focus on it, want these last little bits out of the way so everything can be great, and then that's going to help. Like that kind of doesn't help. It kind of goes the other way. And I think that's what you're experiencing. So play with that. Take a look at that and see if what I just said triggers some stuff, because it likely will. You might see in that like what your beliefs are. If you have some beliefs about, what it means that the nail biting and the eye rubbing, what is thought telling you those mean, that they're still here? What is thought telling you it means about you, about freedom, about whatever? Like there's some stuff in there. I mean, there would be for anyone. So just be curious about that too, if any of that came up as you were listening. So maybe check out that podcast episode if you want to hear more on this. It's called Change Happens by Neglect. So thank you so much for sending your question, Lauren. Send your questions to askamy@thelittleschoolofbigchange.com, and I will see you guys next time.